Most people have imagined it, the sudden arrival of a magical shortcut that resolves every financial struggle with the flick of a wrist. To see how that fantasy actually functions, we have to establish our baseline conditions. Subject A consists of Ramu and his daughter, Chutki. They are skilled creators, but their economic reality is dire. Ramu is currently staring into an empty flour bin, wearing clothes held together by patches, while his daughter polishes plates for customers who never arrive. Subject B is Dhaniram, the local moneylender. He represents an extractive economic model. He produces nothing. He simply leverages high-interest debt to threaten producers like Ramu with total ruin if they cannot pay. Ramu is down to his last handful of batter and 3 pieces of firewood. When a household reaches this level of absolute scarcity, every decision carries immense weight, as the margin for error has completely disappeared. Into this vacuum comes a starving fakir. Despite having only enough food left for one final meal for himself and his daughter, Ramu chooses to fire up the stove. He uses his final resources to feed a stranger, passing an unannounced test of character. In response to this sacrifice, the fakir introduces the independent variable, a glowing clay pot containing a magic nectar. This is the ultimate shortcut. The mechanic is precise. 1 drop added to a standard batch of batter will purify the product, making it irresistible. However, the fakir warns that the nectar reacts to the user. If it falls to a greedy person, the results will be disastrous. The introduction of this high-yield tool changes the village's power dynamic. A small, struggling producer now possesses a technical advantage that can bypass the monopoly held by the moneylender. Ramu begins the experiment with total compliance. He prepares his dough with the same effort as always, but carefully adds the single required drop of the nectar. The output is immediate and physical. The jalebis emerge from the oil glowing like liquid gold. A passing traveler stops his carriage, takes a single bite, and hands over a gold coin, an amount far exceeding the market price. This flow diagram illustrates the mechanics of Subject A's success. The catalyst doesn't replace the work, it amplifies it. By combining restraint and his base skill with the catalyst, Ramu achieves an exponential positive output that draws lines of customers from neighboring villages. Over the following weeks, the wooden money box fills to capacity. Ramu stays healthy, his daughter is fed, and the business expands. By maintaining the same disciplined 1-drop ratio, he uses the shortcut to create a stable, growing enterprise. Watch how the diagram shifts when Dhaniram observes this success. He sees the gold coins, but ignores the process. He believes the shortcut is the only thing that matters, leading him to steal the pot so he can claim the output for himself. Driven by a desire for immediate, massive scale, Dhaniram abandons all restraint. He dumps half the pot into a vat of batter, attempting to force a month's worth of growth into a single afternoon. The reaction is violent. The batter doesn't fry, it mutates into a black, sludge-like substance. Within seconds, it crystallizes into jagged, charcoal-like stones, and they emit a foul chemical odor. The public reaction is swift. The village leader thumps the table, spitting out the bitter, rock-hard mess. Customers who were promised a free feast now find themselves with burning tongues and broken teeth, and they immediately turn on the moneylender. This demonstrates a core principle. Attempting to scale an operation through pure greed, without the foundation of actual value creation, transforms a potential advantage into a liability. The fakir returns to clarify the mechanical truth of the experiment. This multiplier equation shows that the pot possesses no inherent morality. It is a neutral variable that takes the user's intent and multiplies it. Justice is restored, as the village leader forces Dhaniram to refund his predatory interest to the community. The pot is returned to Ramu, but because it was misused and overdrawn by Dhaniram, it is now mathematically exhausted and empty. A tool is only as effective as the person wielding it. When a shortcut is used by an extractor, it eventually burns out its own utility. Ramu is devastated. He believes that without the nectar, he will return to the same starvation and poverty he faced at the start. However, over the last few months, Ramu has served thousands of people. He has built a reputation and a loyal customer base that associates his face and his daughter's service with a superior experience. He has established brand equity that exists independently of the magic. We see the final results a few weeks later. Ramu now operates a permanent brick-and-mortar shop decorated with flowers. The jalebis no longer glow, but the shop remains crowded because he has mastered the skill of making them at scale. Success is the outcome of consistent skill and the compounding interest of honest work. Ramu and Chutki are wealthy now because they used the shortcut to build a foundation that didn't need a miracle to stay standing.